All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our new normal. I'm going to be creating small video lectures that will get us through chapter 6 this week. That is our goal. I've sent out an email to everybody via Blackboard. We also have a new GroupMe created where you guys can interact a little more easily with me that way. So just keep me in the loop if you have any questions or concerns. So, the first part of chapter 6 that we're going to talk about is dealing with energy. And energy is one of those ideas that is a unifying theme of biology because all living things must have an input of energy, and they have to be able to convert that energy from one form into another. So again, this is just one of those things that all living things have in common. They've got to be able to use and convert energy. Energy cycles within an organism as a result of an organism's metabolism. So you're going to hear that word a lot of times in, magazines, in videos, and the word is not always used scientifically correctly. So the metabolism, an organism's metabolism, is the total of all chemical reactions that take place in that organism. Some chemical reactions are breaking things down. Some chemical reactions are building things, like in DNA replication, transcription, and translation. Metabolism can be broken down into two large categories. One of them is catabolism, and the other is anabolism. Catabolism deals with reactions that break large molecules into smaller ones. So, for example, when a cell breaks a protein down into the amino acids, that is a catabolic reaction. Anabolism is just the opposite. It is building large molecules from smaller pieces. So taking the amino acids and linking them together to make a protein, that is an example of anabolism. So catabolism is big to little, and anabolism is little to big. All right, so just make sure that you learn those two words, and we will come back and talk about those a little bit more in video 2, and we'll learn a little bit more information about those two big categories of metabolism. All right, well, we can't talk about energy without talking about thermodynamics. So thermodynamics is the study of energy. It is one of those founding areas of physics, and it's important that we talk about that in biology because living things have to obey the natural laws of the universe. The first law of thermodynamics, you may not know that you know it, but you do know it. It says that energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change forms. So in our example here, we've got a bear, who is eating a fish, and that food contains energy. Well, the energy in food is stored in the chemical bonds. When I ask this question in a face-to-face class and I ask students, where is the energy in the food that you eat? They'll often tell me, well, it's in the proteins, it's in the fat, it's in the carbohydrates. And my question is, yes, but where? Where is that energy stored? Well, it's stored in the chemical bonds, in the covalent bonds that hold the atoms together, that create the molecules that make up the food. And so this bear's metabolism, after the food has been digested through the digestive system, the metabolism is going to take the molecules in that food, the fats and the carbohydrates and the proteins, and it's going to catabolize or break down those big molecules and release that chemical energy. Okay, well, the bear's cells can then use that chemical energy. It can be converted into kinetic energy that allows the bear to move around. Some of that chemical energy can be stored as potential energy. So an organism is going to take some of the food that it eats and it's going to store it in storage molecules like fat and big polysaccharides that cells can access later, like when this bear hibernates and it still needs energy to maintain its metabolism. And then, of course, some of that energy is going to be lost as heat, because no process that converts energy from one form to another is completely energy efficient. There's always going to be energy lost in that process. Well, the second law of thermodynamics talks about entropy. And entropy is the idea that the universe naturally moves toward disorder. So just think about it. It's energetically easier for your room to be a mess and to drive your parents or your roommates or your spouses or significant others or whatever crazy, right? It takes more energy to always put your stuff away and keep things ordered. Disorder is easier, which is why toddlers are the stormtroopers of the Lord of Entropy. When my boys were toddlers and we had a playroom and I had toy bins that were labeled, right? One for Transformers and one for Ninja Turtles and one for Legos and one for wooden blocks and one for cars and all of these kinds of things. And I would spend lots of time and energy sorting their toys into the appropriate bins. They could come in 2 seconds, dump the bins, and everything would be disordered again. Disorder is easier, okay? But remember, living things require an input of energy always, because another unifying theme of biology is that living things are highly ordered. You cannot have a functional living thing that is a disorganized mess. Okay? When you look around at the world of living things, you're going to see order everywhere. And so this image right here, I just think is beautiful. This is an animal. This is a glass sponge, but it looks like something that was knit or crocheted out of lace weight yarn, right? It is very highly ordered, very intricate, and it takes this animal a lot of energy to create that order. Well, throughout history, artists of various types and forms have taken inspiration from nature. This cathedral on the left is the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. The architect who designed the Sagrada Familia's name was Gaudi. Gaudi is a really famous architect from Barcelona, and he took a lot of inspiration from nature, did some really innovative things with his building that were based on natural principles and the ability of different natural structures to create and distribute weight. Just really, really cool. So if you're not familiar with the Sagrada Familia, if you get online and you Google it, there's some really amazing videos of it. It is still under construction. It is the longest ongoing construction project in the world. Gaudi died decades ago, but his work and his dream is still being fulfilled. So just really, really cool stuff. But again, the whole idea behind this is that living things are highly ordered, which means we are constantly fighting against entropy in order to maintain that order, in order to support life, and in order to support the activities that living things must undergo.